So, 20 tips to improve communication. So I'm going to whistle through these and try and talk around them while I bring them up on the slides. And hopefully you'll get something out of this, and I'll try and give some examples from my experience of where I've done things well, maybe not done things as well as I could have done. And I guess it all starts going back to the point I made in the previous talk about creating that sense of connection and extension. And if you remember, I went through this order of events in terms of building the connection between the team and ultimately the England nation, trying to make it feel like one team, which was a very broad goal and very ambitious goal. But some way, I think in a lot of ways we went a long way to achieving it. So tips to improve communication. I think the first point I'd make is you can't be aggressive with your communication, certainly not on a consistent basis. I think people ultimately tune out to aggressive leadership. You've got to have confidence in your beliefs, and you've got to be able to express your thoughts and feelings, but it's got to be in an assertive way, not an aggressive way. And I think some leaders I've worked with, some coaches I've worked with, perhaps don't get that balance right, and as a consequence, whilst it works for a while, it doesn't work in the long term. I think the second is probably the most important thing, actually. I would spend a lot of time thinking about what I was going to say, when actually I should have spent more time thinking about how I was going to say it. So the intonation, the pause, the passion I would show in my voice and my body language, because people have to feel your attitude. They have to see that you care. They have to see that you believe in them. Or you believe in the vision, or whatever you're trying to sell to them. And we often spend time thinking about, right, we've got a presentation, get my slides ready, get my notes ready, and then go and deliver. I think you need to spend time before you deliver in front of an audience, the way you want to connect with people, that they can feel your energy. So quite wordy this one. The bottom line with charisma: you don't have to be gorgeous, genius, or masterful orator to possess presence. You just need to be positive, believe in yourself, and focus on others. You have to make others feel what you feel. There's a great quote about teachers, and often, if you think back to the best teacher you had when you were at school, you probably can't remember too much what they said or what they taught you, but that you'll remember how they made you feel. And if you're passionate about something, they have to feel your passion, and you've got to sell it with your body language and everything about you to ensure that they feel your vision. I think I've had a few of these along the way, and I'm certainly not afraid to talk about them. And I think it gives you a sense of reality in front of your audience. That they can believe in you, because anyone who hasn't made a mistake, I don't think exists really. So be prepared to talk about what went wrong and what you learned. And I think everyone understands that people make mistakes. And I think the humble leader is the one that shows that they're prepared to make mistakes and learn from them. I've been in the presence of some great orators and some great communicators, but often they don't pause to get any feedback or to allow you to speak. And whilst they've grasped my attention for a while, I think ultimately it's about giving to your audience, not just taking away your messages and telling people what you think. You've got to give energy, and some people who work in organisations, they would take energy away from the audience by not being prepared to listen, and thinking they perhaps knew all the answers without asking the obvious questions. I think if you're going to go and talk publicly, and if you are in a leadership position, I'm sure you'll have to do this all the time. I think it's naive if you're not prepared. Certainly my world of press conferences or standing in front of players or inspiring teams, I would always prepare. And sometimes it's late at night, you think, I'll skip it, I'll be able to wing it and I'll be able to do it on the hoof. I don't think it's that easy. I think there are very few people who have that capability to do that. I think telling the story, being interesting, being short and succinct, and ultimately being committed to what you're doing in terms of your presentation and bringing people together, believing in your own plan is really important. Fairly obvious this one, use positive body language, facial expressions and tone of voice, and people can very quickly tune out to a leader who doesn't convince them when they're in front of them that they are enthusiastic about their subject or they're nervous about standing in front of people and leading people. And let's be fair, not everyone's cut out to be a leader. So there's nothing wrong with being a great coach or a great manager. But if you do want to be a leader, then the use of body language and facial expressions and tone of voice is key. I'm not very good at this one. The power of the pause. So saying something and then waiting, letting it sink in, and then saying it again. I tend to go 100 miles an hour. So I could definitely be better at this, and I think that it is effective. Certainly, if you listen to the great communicators. I think this is massive. I think people who work for you want to be inspired about what the future will hold. So you've got to paint the future in graphic detail. You've got to envisage it. You've got to plan it, and you've got to sell it and describe it in great detail to the people who work for you. And if you can describe a vision of the future that they want to drive towards, I guarantee you that they will work harder and go the extra mile for you. I think when you're into one-to-one communications and you're trying to build a relationship with your coaching team, your management team, whoever it may be, don't be in a rush to tell them what you want to say. Ask the question, how are you? What you've been up to? How's the family? Try and find some common ground. I think introverts might struggle with this more than extroverts. Extroverts are very comfortable walking into a room and shaking hands and eye contact. And excuse me, introverts. And I'm probably slightly more introverted than extroverted. My wife would certainly be an extrovert, and I've had to work at this where it doesn't come naturally to me to go to people and smile and greet them, shake their hand, and be the first to do it. Often as introverts, I think we tend to sit back and wait and don't want to draw attention to ourselves or ultimately make that first step. But I think the 10-foot rule is a really good one, and if you can force yourself to do that, then you'll be effective. Great connectors possess great confidence. It's difficult to connect with the people that are uncertain. It makes you doubt them and it becomes a distraction. So you have to be confident in your subject area, so you've got to do your homework, you've got to be prepared, and you've got to believe in your message. They're authentic, they prepare thoroughly, they single out people, so to intentionally include them and look for ways to add value to people. So it might be you're standing in front of your staff and you say, and I would just like to thank my PA, Joanne, who's been absolutely fantastic in everything she's done over the last 12 months. I really couldn't have done without her, and I just wanted to let everyone know how brilliant she's been. And or if someone's done a great job on a particular topic or a subject area, name them. Make sure people feel included. Look for common ground. I think I've mentioned that. So in that conversation, try and find a common ground. I didn't realise you've been to, or I've been to America. Did you realise? Whereabouts did you go? Oh, I've been there. Have you experienced this, or did you go there when you saw when you went on your holiday? And that type of stuff. It's just an easy way to connect people together. 100% agree with this one. Be curious about everything. So I'm fascinated in people's life stories and where they've come from and where they've been, how they've grown as leaders, what work they've done, have they gone from this job to that job, where did they go to university, did they go to university? And I think if you're asking questions about people when you meet them, they will gradually be drawn to you and feel part of or what you've got to say. I've written here, show your players, but show your team members, show your employees that you're excited to be with them. So you must display enthusiasm, even during the tough times. Say, right, come on, looking forward to today. We're going to get a huge amount done in today's session. We've got a meeting first. I just want to go over X, Y, and Z. So let's make sure we're switched on and we're ready to go. Okay, everyone ready? Right, let's go. That type of thing. So just making sure you've got an upbeat, positive attitude. And talk about, listen, I want to make you better. I want to improve you as an individual, and I want this team to improve because I believe in you, and I believe in this team, and I believe in the direction that we're going. And I think if you show that and communicate that on a regular basis, people will respond. Switch off your phone, shut your laptop, turn your diary over when someone's in your room, and make sure they feel for the 10 minutes or the 5 minutes they're in your office, they have got your undivided attention. There is nothing more disconcerting or disappointing when you walk into someone's office or you're trying to have a conversation and you know really they're not focusing on you. And it is the biggest challenge facing leaders, but it's the most important tip, I think, of these 20. So this is a story here of a professor giving a quiz to his students, and the last question of the statistical paper that he was asking was, what is the name of the woman that cleans the school? And all the students looked around in bemusement, really, thinking, what's this got to do with statistics? And no one got the answer right. And when he went through the debrief of the mock exam paper that he delivered, and he came to the last question, and the students couldn't answer. The point he was making is that understanding statistics is one thing, but actually that everyone deserves attention and care. So from in a school situation, from the person that looks after the school when it's shut, the caretaker and the janitors and the cleaners and the dinner ladies and everyone deserves attention and care. There should be no ABC of importance in your communication. And finally, I think this is a really good one as well. Just say, listen, I've absolutely loved today. It's been fantastic. Really enjoyed coming to speak to you, and I hopefully we can build on this relationship and go forward in a positive manner. So I've got 4 or 5 other presentations on communication extension, which hopefully you'll enjoy. I think some really good tips there. I don't get them right all the time by any stretch of imagination, but hopefully I've stimulated some ideas in you, and you can think about becoming a better communicator. And then when you've done that, you can connect those people together and extend that connection out from your small team to your bigger team and to your largest team. Okay, thank you.